Hey Channel Insiders, welcome back for episode 2 of Channel Insider Partner POV, your source for untapped opportunities and unfiltered opinions in the IT channel, all to help you make better business decisions. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and I am so thrilled with all the support and feedback we got on episode 1, and I cannot wait to share more with you in episode 2. I had the pleasure of speaking with Jennifer Vosburgh, Vice President of Marketing at Tego. And fun fact, in Latin, Tego means to cover or protect, which will tell you everything you need to know about this company. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, Katie. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
It's a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited to get into it because you folks cover so much at Tego. So why don't I first start letting you give me a whole rundown of what is Tego, a little bit about what you do, and who do you serve? Who primarily are your customers?
Great. So Tego is an IT services consulting company. What really makes us unique is that we are able to offer a multitude of solutions. We have a hybrid solution approach. So what that means is we can provide and support hybrid public or private cloud solutions, including our own. We have a security audit and compliance team that provides guidance and consulting and services around cybersecurity, internal audit, and any compliance regulations. We also have the ability to support professional IT services projects. And some of those projects include engineering residencies where we can augment staffing with our own engineering team. So we really do take a hybrid approach to supporting our clients because we're able to offer them a multitude of solutions.
So I know that Tego is a registered practitioner organization. Can you break down what exactly it means to be an RPO? And how is that something that sets you apart from not only your competitors, but should also really shine as a benefit for your customers?
Absolutely. So Tego is considered an RPO, registered practitioner organization, which means that we have the ability to support clients or organizations in the DIB space who need CMMC pre-assessments. We can do things like scoping controlled unclassified information in their environment, assessing their controls against any of the CMMC or NIST 800-171 domains and objectives. We identify security gaps. We prioritize those gaps in the order that they should be corrected and develop plans of actions and milestones, or what they call POAMs. And what that does is, as the RPO, we can come in and do the pre-assessment to help them reevaluate their supplier performance risk system score, SPRS. I know that's a lot of acronyms, but essentially what we do is we help organizations who are in the DIB space get compliant with the CMMC regulation. We've been working on this for about 2 years. The DoD finally published the rulemaking at the end of last year, so now it's getting a lot more attention because organizations are realizing they need to have this compliance. They need to be compliant with it. They need to, reach out to an organization who can help them with that. And there are fewer RPOs than when we first started this process 2 years ago. So that really does give us a competitive advantage because, one, we're an RPO, we can offer that service. And two, in addition to the compliance and security aspect that we're offering here, we have access to our own engineers and to our own experts on the IT side who can help mitigate and correct some of those gaps that we're going to find when we're conducting those pre-assessments.
So I'm just going to build on a little bit about what you were saying about CMMC compliance, because like you said, there was a lot of acronyms in there, and that's our entire industry. We've just broken it down into letters. So I want to go over a little bit more for our audience what exactly the CMMC compliance is. As you said, Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. It's a framework that was developed by the Department of Defense, the U.S. Department of Defense, to enhance the cybersecurity posture of defense contractors. So it started primarily in 2020, but it's been designed to ensure that contractors handling sensitive information meet specific cybersecurity standards. And it's phased implementation of what they call CMMC 2.0, like you said, began in May 2023, and it's expected to be fully implemented by October 2025. So it's a lot going on. And in general, what you can expect is now some of the DoD contractors are requiring their subcontractors to meet this compliance as well. So this is a lot more, I say red tape, but it's important and it should stand out to customers as there's a lot more barbed wire being wrapped around your data to make sure that it stays safe. One thing I also want to touch on that you said, Jennifer, there's fewer RPOs out there now that we're here. Is there a reason for that? Is the pandemic something to blame for that? Or is it just many organizations couldn't keep up with the compliance?
I would say that it's mostly because the DoD kind of kept kicking the deadline down the road. And so organizations that were RPOs realized like, hey, this is not going to pan out for us. We're going to abandon this and, go to something else. Whereas Tego has remained committed to being an RPO for the last almost 3 years now. So organizations have known for a while the rules and that it's been coming for 2 years. And it's important to note that a lot of other agencies are going to look at what the DoD is doing and are likely going to try to replicate that process for their own security and compliance requirements. And again, what makes Tego unique about that is that we have privacy engineers on our team, which gives us a competitive advantage. Everybody has some type of security offering or security solution, but we're able to offer privacy and security, which are two very different things. And so when it comes to being an RPO, that's, we have an advantage because there are not as many as when we first started this process. And two, because we can support the privacy and security requirements that are going to come along with this regulation.
So you say when you started the process, what has Tego gone through to make sure that they're showing that they're meeting this compliance?
That's a great question. So to be an RPO, obviously there's a cost associated with that. There is a lot of certification and training and upkeep to those certifications and trainings. Our team attends what they call monthly town hall meetings where the Cyber AB, which is the organization that has, issued CMMC and is responsible for making sure organizations are living up to the expectations as RPOs, C3PAOs, and all of the other CMMC ecosystem organizations, making sure that those, organizations are up to par with what they have been issuing. So there's a lot of dedication and education and commitment to making sure that we are fully invested and fully informed about any of the changes that are going on. And because of that, we're able to keep up with the changes appropriately. We communicate them to our clients. If you go out to our website, there's probably like 10 blogs alone on CMMC updates, and you can almost kind of follow the linear changes on the page about that. But it's not an easy task, and it's definitely a commitment. August of 2021, we started this, and we're still remained committed to it today.
That is so much to consider. I didn't realize how ongoing the process is, too, that you're constantly in new meetings and constantly learning new things about this to making sure that you're meeting that certification. I should ask, this has got to be something that's really, you mentioned the blogs, which is great, but I'm sure that your customers often struggle with, okay, what is the latest thing this week that I need to worry about that the DoD is making sure that I meet? Being in marketing, how do you approach your customers to be able to kind of package this all in a way that they can understand and digest and decide what's going to be best for them moving forward with Tego to make new decisions about their own technology and data? How do you approach them about that?
So I would say the easiest way or the most digestible way that we help approach customers with this, if you go out to our website, tegodata.com/CMMC, there's a really powerful graphic on that page called the CMMC journey. And it illustrates how much time an organization would need to commit to various phases of the certification or compliance process, because it definitely takes time. It can take up to a year, sometimes a little longer. And we want organizations to be mindful of that this is not something that you can come in and do last minute, especially when, now that the rulemaking has been published, the demand is going to be higher. And so we have to make sure that we have the ability to support all of the projects that are going to come in as a result of this, but we also want to set expectations very clearly with our clients. Like, this is not a one-time thing that you can get done in like a month or two. The journey is quite long. And so that's probably the best way that we illustrate to clients, hey, this is what you need to be thinking about. In addition, we try to keep them updated with like monthly email blasts or social media posts, campaigns that are centered around CMMC that are designed to educate and inform them about the changes that are coming and why this is so important.
Absolutely. And you mentioned you're anticipating an influx in demand for services such as what Tego offers, services and solutions. How does that impact the way that you're going to do business when it comes to selecting customers and agreeing to go into deals with customers? Is that something that impacts that at all?
Yeah, obviously we want to support as many clients as possible, and we're taking on projects, as they come in. One of the great things about the CMMC ecosystem in general is that you become friendly with other organizations that do similar things in the CMMC ecosystem, like licensed professional trainers, LPTs, or C3PAOs, which is a different certification or a different part of the CMMC process that, Tego doesn't do. So what we can do is reach out to some of the colleagues that we have become professionally friendly with to help with some of those projects when a client gets to that point in their stage. So we did the pre-assessment, and then after that, they go on to a different part of the ecosystem to finish out their compliance journey. We have people that we can recommend to them. We are constantly working on we serve on panels with them. Greg Manson, who is our VP of Tego Advisory Services here, he's always on some type of panel at an organizational trade show with some of these other CMMC ecosystem partners, and they've developed really strong relationships to be able to support clients so that if there's something we can't do, we can refer them, and vice versa.
And you speak about those relationships that you have with other members of the industry. I'd love to hear you speak a little bit about your strategically aligned vendor partnerships. Are there any right now, whether it be solutions, the vendors themselves? Is anyone standing out at the moment who is really helping, whether it be concerned with the CMMC compliance or just really providing great partnership or technology? Is there anybody that you would like to highlight right now?
Yeah, in terms of channel partners, I would say pretty much most of the security vendors are well aware of the CMMC security and compliance requirements. So they've built that into their solutions. Partners like Big ID or Varonis, Huntress is a good example. Pretty much every security vendor knows CMMC is a big deal, and they need to be able to offer some type of solution or service to support that, whether it's data classification, categorizing your data, making sure that your data is protected and backed up, like Rubrik, one of our great partners does that. When it comes to controlled unclassified information, which we call CUI, you can't protect that data if you don't know where it is. And so it's very important to work with security channel partners who understand how to find the data, how to protect it, how to back it up, how to classify it. And that's probably the biggest focus we have when it comes to CMMC with some of those channel partners.
In 2023, there was a lot of discussion about, do I go to cloud? Do I stay on-prem? Do I have a hybrid of both? There's just so much more to be expected this year in 2024. How are you staying ahead of customer demands and trends to be able to anticipate their needs before they become something that is just showing up on the doorstep and you have to figure out, how do we handle this right now?
That's a great question. So I would say what makes Tego very good at what we do, or what we call the Tego approach, is that we are very good at proving our value. We don't look at relationships with our clients as transactional. We look at them as long-term business partnerships. And so once we get in the door and we do a project and we make them look good, it's a lot easier to build that trust, and they start to look to us as an extension of their team or as a trusted partner. And so they know that if they have a question about cloud, or if they're looking to do some type of project that, they might not have considered in the past, Tego can absolutely provide that consulting expertise that they need. With Tego as an extension of their team, we're able to provide that continuity. We get to know their environment, we get to know their team, we're able to keep things flowing, and, we just are able to continuously recommend what is best to keep their environment secure, productive, reliable, and help them achieve successful business objectives.
So I want to build on that to see if I can put a name and a face, so to speak, to some of those examples that you were saying about working with customers. Do you have any particular customer success stories that you would like to highlight right now, maybe one that was done recently or within the last year, that you can say this is something we were able to do to really showcase Tego being that trusted advisor and trusted technology partner to those clients?
Yes, I would say that we have several success stories, but I think it was 2022 is where we closed one of our biggest professional services projects, where we were supporting a national entertainment company with over 40 sites. That was a very tedious, long-term project that required pretty much cooperation and collaboration from every department within Tego. And this was our first time in front of that client. We were able to present to them a backup solution and help them improve their environment. And it was very successful. We've also worked with a global enterprise cloud software company for several years. This company experienced a lot of turnover in IT, but with Tego, we were able to just, again, provide that continuity. We got to know their team, we got to know their environment. They had worked with us for years, so nobody felt like there was an interruption or a disruption in IT because they had Tego to keep things moving forward. There are a ton of success stories, but I mean, the premise of the success is always the same thing. Like, they look to us for help with a project or expertise. We come in, we make them look good to their boss. We complete the project successfully, and then we've won that credibility, and we're able to maximize and capitalize on that moving forward to continue to build that trust and build that relationship.
Oh, I'm constantly looking for people to tell my boss I look great. So maybe you can, yeah, definitely give me a call after this. Well, so important to do. So important to do. Well, that's fantastic, and so incredible that you were able to close that deal with such a large national company. So I also want to know, when it comes to nurturing those relationships continuing down the line, are there any methodologies, whether that be software or best practices, that you do to be able to say, like, hey, we're still here for these clients. You may never see us because everything's going right. How do you still show them, like, we're here and still doing our job to the best of our abilities for you?
That's very, very important. So the clients don't always hear from us when there's some new technology or new solution. Part of the reason why we're great at what we do is because we're very focused on the strategy of each of our clients. It's very important that we understand what the client's needs and their strategy are for their business and how we can support that. So we might get called in for one particular project, but we work with that client to build out a roadmap, not just for the current year, but for future years. Like, if you're going to do this project today, how's that going to impact your environment next year? Or what are some of the other things that you are focused on to improve reliability, security, productivity, collaboration, and how can we help with that? So again, it's not a transactional relationship. It's more of, how can we support that client's strategy? How can we partner with them? and how can we support them so that they're able to focus on more of the day-to-day projects while we're working on some of the long-term projects.
So moving into this year, we're still right at the start of it in the very first month, but are there any strategies, trends, or initiatives that Tego is trying to implement or stay ahead of? Anything that you're trying to focus on in 2024 that you can share?
Yeah, I would say obviously security and compliance are a big thing because that's never going to go away. I mean, we all know cyber attacks are getting more sophisticated, breach numbers are going up. Like anything we can do to help clients with cybersecurity, improving or hardening their environment is a priority for us. When it comes to cloud, a lot of organizations have a hybrid cloud strategy. We're definitely able to support that, whether it's, moving things on-prem to the cloud, implementing backup and cyber resiliency solutions, making sure that they're testing those backups, because if you're not testing your backups, you don't know if it's going to help you when you become the victim of a cyber attack or a breach. So just continuing to focus on cloud in general, I think is a big deal for us. We can support public cloud like AWS. We have our own hybrid cloud solution. We can do cloud migrations, cloud assessments. Like cloud is just such a buzzword for us, and it often leads to other projects as well.
Absolutely. And I know that you're vendor agnostic when it comes to the cloud, but Tego has its own cloud offering. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we call we call our cloud the cloud, which is Tego Hybrid Enterprise Cloud. And essentially, our cloud is built on some of the best in the business, such as NetApp, VMware. It's designed for disaster recovery as a service and infrastructure as a service models. What that does is we're able to help offload a client's physical infrastructure stack. We can help them execute solutions based on interoperability. We're able to support their cloud projects from start to finish. And we architect the solution to work with whichever cloud our customers prefer. So we've had experts, we've had the expertise for years, and we keep up with the changing trends and the technology to be able to support clients with whatever their cloud needs require.
Jennifer, you mentioned VMware in that answer, and I'm curious to know, as we know by now, VMware has been acquired by Broadcom, and there's a lot of merger and acquisition activity going on in the channel right now. How does that activity, as well as the fallout from it all, impact you and your customers and your relationship with each other?
Yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday. One of the biggest challenges is that there's constant consolidation within IT. There's always changes happening in the channel, and our customers expect us to know more about that than they do. And sometimes that's the problem because we don't always know what's going on. We read that headline the same time you do. We had no idea that this was happening, and now we kind of have to adjust and evaluate. Is there a different solution we need to consider, or how is this change or acquisition going to impact Tego? How is it going to impact our clients? What can we do? And it can be frustrating when we hear about it the same time that our clients do, because we're kind of just caught. We don't always know what's happening, and so we kind of have to just adjust to do that. So it seems like consolidation in IT is always going to be there. It's always going to happen. What we do is we just try to get educated on what's happening, how it's going to impact us from a partner perspective, how it's going to impact us from a client perspective, and adjust our expectations accordingly so that we can support our clients.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you being transparent, saying like, hey, there's things that when we see the headlines, so does everybody else, because that's been the name of the game, especially going into from the last quarter into the first quarter of this year for sure. Well, as we wrap up here, Jennifer, I'd love to know, what are some of your big bets or predictions going into the rest of this year, even if it has nothing to do with Tego as far as the technology that you specialize in, whether it be AI, IoT, anything going forward, where are you most interested to kind of tap into and really focus on what's going to happen with this technology this year?
Yeah, I would say AI is probably a big focus for 2024. It's not something that Tego delves into much right now, but I can definitely see that becoming a priority for us over the next couple of years since organizations are investing in and utilizing AI. I would say security and compliance and cloud are probably the three biggest things that we would see trends for this year because, again, those things are never going away. They're constantly changing. Every organization has some type of need for those things. And we just remain committed to making sure that we're educated in all of those solutions, that we're aware of the changes in technology and how those changes would impact our clients, and then making sure that we are remaining the experts that our clients rely on to recommend the best solutions or services to help them with their business goals.
Speaking of AI, I didn't think to ask, is that something that you see or has been impacting some of the security parameters for your customers, or have they been asking more questions or any concern there as far as some of what it's shown it's capable of doing?
It's definitely popped up a lot more in conversations with our clients, whether it's if we're recommending a solution. AI is often involved in, helping to categorize or identify data, using AI for data trends, making sure that environments are well protected from AI simulated attacks. So it's only going to get more sophisticated, and as such, we'll have to remain focused on ensuring that we are doing everything we can to understand how to support that, how to protect a client's environment, and how to make sure that, their data and their environment is secure.
Very well said, Jennifer. I really appreciate your time today, and I hope you come back in the future.
Thank you so much. I had such a great time talking to you, Katie.
And if you want to learn more about Tego and its portfolio of services, head on over to tegodata.com. Thanks again to my guest Jennifer for joining me today, and thank you for watching or listening. If you want more episodes of Channel Insider Partner POV, we post new video and podcast content every week, and you can check those out on channelinsider.com. We've got a ton of great articles and written content on there as well. If you've got a question or you'd like to be on the show, you can email us at partnerpov@channelinsider.com. Once again, I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.